All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Wednesday to you. It's Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. This morning, we're going to kick it off talking about the difference between teaching and telling. And, when I first thought about this difference, I think there is a significant difference, right? When it comes down to it, many people in our lives that we interact with will tell us what to do. But the difference between telling and teaching is significant. And, for those people who have interacted with someone who has actually taken the time to teach them, the difference is extremely clear. And that's what we're going to unpack this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life. And then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, guys, what's happening? Good morning to you and happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having an awesome morning. This morning, we're going to talk about a topic that I think, will connect with a lot of people. I think that in everybody's lives, we have all experienced this difference between teaching and telling, right? And the difference between teaching and telling is significant. We're going to break down exactly what those differences are. And then hopefully that will give you some perspective on maybe some of the situations in your own life that, you could probably be a little bit better teacher instead of, just telling someone exactly what to do. And, I think it's indicative of the situation that we're in the world with everything moving so fast is the reason why the action of telling is more popular than teaching. And so we're going to unpack that this morning. But as always, I want to just kick it off and say good morning to some folks. David Martin, what's happening, brother? Scott Rhodes, Curtis, good morning to you. Tammy, Daniel Good, John Stanton, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. And if you have a minute, share this one out, because I think that if we can make an impact with people doing this just slightly better, if we can convert some people who are tellers into teachers, we will make a massive impact in some people's lives. So if you could take a couple of seconds here and just share this stream out to your pages, I would appreciate it. All right, so the difference between teaching and telling. In my opinion, there are two major differences. The first one is, the difference between telling someone, and this is, kind of from a leadership perspective, the difference between telling someone what to do and teaching someone how to do it. There are two major differences. And the easiest to point out is the difference of actually showing someone how to do something, showing someone from your own personal experiences and your own knowledge how to do something. This is a lost art in today's world because we have so many resources that we can point people to. So we can have people go to YouTube. We can have people Google things. We can have people use the resources or help buttons that are within, software programs that we use or whatever it may be. But it's a major difference between telling someone what to do or what needs to be done and actually taking the time to teach them the exact steps of how to do it and what it looks like and what needs to be done. So taking the time to actually go shoulder to shoulder with someone versus maybe being across a desk from somebody and giving them instructions, telling them what to do versus getting on the other side of the desk with them and teaching them how to do it. So that's the first difference, right? Actually showing someone. The second one, and this is a big one for me, and this is another thing that we see so often in leadership or in just everyday life, is people actually acting out what they say. So acting in alignment with what you tell people to do or what you say. And this one's tricky because, we have to remember that we are all hypocrites in some way, shape, or form. There are always things that we say we're going to do that we don't end up doing. And so this is why we have to live and act with grace. But the best teachers and the best people who are actually showing people how to do it, they are generally acting in alignment far more frequently than the rest of the crowd. And when you think about those people that actually act out in alignment, it's very easy for you to take advice from them, for you to take the lessons or the teachings that they are offering you, and for you to feel confident at executing on these things that they're using to show you with, right? The examples that they're using to show you with. And when they act out these things in their own life, and you see success created from those things that they are teaching, becomes very easy for you to be confident in following them, in taking their advice, in using their lessons and implementing them into your own life. And for me, so often when I'm interacting with companies or I'm interacting with individuals, and I start asking questions about their methods of how they're trying to show people and teach people, I hear far too often this idea of just telling people, right? Telling people what to do, giving them instructions is significantly different than showing them how. And if you want to build anything great in your life, if you want to inspire your kids, if you want to, again, raise children into being successful adults, if you want to build a company, if you want to have a great marriage, you can't just tell people what to do or tell people what you want to have done. You have to actually show them or teach them exactly what it is. And that looks completely different based on the situation. But it always requires involvement in the conversation. It also involves, generally, involving the other person in creating the solution or creating the lesson. So it takes you understanding where the other person is for you to be able to properly teach them. Think about that. If you are teaching someone at a very basic level that has a pretty advanced understanding of something because you haven't taken the time to ask the questions about where they are, then you're going to lose that person. And that is what you see a lot of people who are tellers, not teachers. Well, they will make that mistake. The lessons that they teach are 100% cookie cutter. They're not tailored to the person that they're interacting with. They're just simple instructions. And I will challenge you to think that those people, those leaders who are telling, not teaching, they are taking a shortcut. I would go as far as calling them lazy, because it takes a lot more effort to be a teacher. It takes a lot more skill. It takes a lot more knowledge. It takes a lot more resources. And in the end, it takes a lot more time. But what I've found is that when I invest into people by teaching them, the compound interest effect of that investment is so significant that it's almost immeasurable. I've got several people in our company that I have taken specific one-on-one time with to pour into and try to teach and share lessons and share life experiences and really get involved in how we take their talents and their skills and their experiences to a new level. And through that teaching over a period of years, these individuals have turned into just absolutely incredible assets to our company. They've become better personally. They've become better professionally. They've grown in ways that are immeasurable. Now, if I look at that and I say, What if I just gave them a list? What if I just told them exactly how it's supposed to be done? And I left them to their own experiences, their own discipline, their own knowledge at that particular time to figure it out. The results, guys, are totally different. And so when you think about the difference between teaching and telling, it could not be more different. And I think that for so many of us, we go through every day doing a lot more telling than we do teaching for a lot of people. And we're all guilty of it at some level, because when somebody approaches us, we don't necessarily have the time to respond in that particular moment. Something else is more important. And so we end up telling somebody what to do instead of actually taking the time to teach them. And so I challenge you today to ask yourself the question, how often am I teaching versus how often am I telling? How often am I acting in alignment with the things that I say or the things that I teach? Because that example alone is a version of teaching. Obviously, being involved and directly connected to and having conversation with the other person or the group of people is the most effective way to teach. But make no mistake, you can teach by your example. You can teach by how you operate, by how you show up every day, by how disciplined you are. And that will teach people over a period of time how they can show up, how they can be disciplined, how they can find a better version of themselves by the example of how you have done it. And so if you know that there's something in your own life that you could be doing better, remember that. You are teaching those people around you, whether it be your kids, your spouse, people that you work alongside. You are teaching them based on your example. And if you are somebody that is telling somebody how to do something and not living in alignment with those things that you are telling, you are going to lose a lot of respect very quickly from the people that are closest to you, because they see it. They see our contradictions, and we all have them. Our goal is to reduce those contradictions as much as we possibly can so that we can live as much in alignment as possible. None of us are perfect human beings. We all are living, breathing, and walking contradictions. But if you can show up every single day for those people around you, and you can take the time to teach them and not just tell them, get involved in that conversation and show them the way. Don't just tell them. You will make a massive impact on a lot of people. And for me, I pride myself in trying to be a teacher as often as possible, to show people, to be patient, to realize that change is uncomfortable. And so being a good teacher also involves a massive amount of patience. It involves being able to stay calm when everybody else is up in arms. It involves staying the course and just reminding someone over and over and over again of what they're capable of how they have the ability to show up a little bit better every single day, and realizing that the change will not happen overnight. But when we teach people, we truly invest our time, ourselves into that other person. And I encourage you to think about how often you're doing that, because when I look at these people who I've had the pleasure of mentoring, teaching, and I look at, years ago to today, and what these individuals are capable of doing today, how their families' lives have changed, how their own lives have changed, the confidence that they show up with every single day, and how different that is from several years ago. There's not a lot of things in the world that fill me up more than that. And I think that we can all make a huge difference in this world if we can really tell the difference between teaching and telling. And if you are a leader or you work for a leader that is constantly telling, you have to realize the ineffectiveness of that. And if your leader can't switch from telling to teaching, then something needs to change. You need to provide that person with the feedback of how they operate so that they are aware. And if after you educate them on the fact that they are constantly telling and never teaching, never investing in you, but only barking orders, then you need to consider what that means for your situation. Because living in a world where somebody is just telling you what to do is not so fulfilling. And so over a period of time, you need to help change that person just the same as they can help change you. But that starts with having honest conversations, being willing to embrace the conflict that comes along with it, and really showing people, sometimes your own leader, the difference between telling and teaching. And we've all worked for those people at some point in our lives. We've all interacted with those people, right? That don't know the difference. They think that leadership can be telling or teaching, and leadership only falls on one side of that equation at its foundation. So I hope this message gave you a little perspective on the difference between telling and teaching, and a little bit of, what leadership really looks like, and it is life-changing when you are able to execute on it at the highest level. And again, we are all in pursuit of perfection. We will never arrive, but the closer you get on this particular topic, the more lives you will impact and the more compound interest those lives will gain in this world, meaning the impact that you can make with those people and the impact they are able to make beyond what you could make as one individual. Is the ripple effect is incredible. So I'll leave you with that this morning, guys. I hope it was helpful. Thank you guys for showing up here this morning. Again, if you have some time to click that share button, man, I would greatly appreciate it. The downloads, the views, everything continues to grow week over week, month over month. So I really appreciate it, man. I believe we're building something special here with these messages that just for a couple of minutes in the morning can refocus people, can give people some inspiration, give some people some hope to start their morning off with. And that has always been the goal since episode 1 of this show. We're approaching episode 400 here pretty quickly. I recorded a podcast yesterday with a good friend of mine named Scott Simons. You guys want to stay tuned for that one, man. What an incredible conversation. And we were talking this morning and just how much we have in common. Scott comes from a small town in West Virginia. I come from a small town here in Southwest Pennsylvania. And man, the alignment and the common things, the things that we have in common are incredible. We both had a newspaper route at 11 years old. We both, come from a blue collar family with work ethic, and man, it's just incredible the alignment that we had. And so you guys will enjoy that conversation. That interview will be dropping Friday of this week. And I know you guys will get a lot out of that one. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys being here. And I will see you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. Thanks for being here.